right, it's yet another beautiful evening right here, and we are back here to take you through the latest happening world of sport. The show this evening, the set by Eric Chell for new contract extension, and of course tonight it is the UEFA Champions League, and it's a battle of a winner takes it all as ATM, that is Atletico Madrid, welcome Club Brugge at the Wanda Metropolitano. All these are to form the basis of our conversation here on the show this evening. It promises to be an exciting show this evening. You don't want to move an inch because we'll be back in a jiffy. All right, so we are back here, and I'm not here alone this evening because Kingsley is here in the building this evening. Kingsley, good evening, and welcome to Sport Extraordinary.
Michael, thanks for having me. Nice to be here. Of course, UEFA Champions League makes on tonight, and we look forward to see what Inter Milan will be able to do against Bodo Glimt, tonight. The Niger Delta games, of course. We're getting, fresh updates, a whole lot down there. Those states still maintaining really been an impressive one. We'll keep our fingers crossed and see how the games, continue to unfold. But nice to be here, Mike.
Nice to be here indeed on a very cool and exciting evening like this. Before we head to talk about the UEFA Champions League, which is set to come alive tonight, let's start from the home scene because the executive chairman of Edo State Sport Commission, Honorable Ahmadine Despon Enabulele, has charged Team Edo athletes and coaches to determined to sustain the state commanding lead on the medals table. So Kingsley, the Honorable, talking about Ahmadine Nabulele, is charging Edo State contingent, the athletes and coaches, to remain focused despite the fact that they seems to be running away with the #1 spot, but nothing is guaranteed yet. But as it stands, Edo State, they are topping the medals log as we speak. I think this charge is coming at a time where the athletes need to focus and not be carried away by excitement of the fact that they are currently topping the medals log.
Yes, I think at this point in time, they should not be carried away. The focus should be there. They should keep up the consistency, trying to see how they can rack up more medals. So far, so good. I think the last time we saw the medals table, they had a total of 47 medals, as it stands. So a whole lot still needs to be done. Delta State is just behind them. And, if they don't put up a very impressive performance, I think in the next 3 days, that the tournament, of course, will be on. You never can tell. Anything could happen. Don't forget, of course, you win, at the end of the day. But what really matters is how many gold are you able, of course, to win. Because the more gold medal you have, the chances of you getting at the top, of course, of the table. You never can tell. Delta might just come up, rack up to 10, 15, 20 gold medals. And that, of course, will be it, at this point in time for Edo State. So they really have to keep up that consistency. We have about 3 days to the end of the competition. So 3 days, I think, is enough time for a state to be able to turn things around at this point. So they shouldn't be carried away by the fact that, yes, they are dominating the medals table. They should keep up their consistency and see how to finish well. At this point, their eye should be, towards finishing well and not being carried away by the success, they've recorded, so far.
Not carried away by the success recorded thus far by Team Edo, who are bidding to host and win this particular one. And we can tell you that it's been an impressive, outing. They are surge at the medals table with a total of 47 medals in all. Still talking about the medals log, the likes of Edo, Bayelsa, up there as well. But then let's talk about our own Rivers State, who lands that they are in the 7th position with just 2 gold medals, a total of 20. As it stands, are you satisfied with the performance of Rivers contingent so far?
Not really satisfied, looking at the fact that it is day 4. We're heading down to day 5, of the competition. We should expect, Rivers State, of course, should be in the top 3. Looking forward to see if they can compete to, maybe gain the top position today. So far, so good. When you take a look at their level of preparation, ahead of the Niger Delta games, you really want to say, okay, maybe they stand a good chance. But looking at the fact that state like Delta State, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, ahead of them at this point, really, really surprising. And look at it, Mike. Rivers State, have been on the decline when it comes to do with, sport like this, domestic sports. Take a look at it. I think the last time the National Youth Games was held, they were not there. I think due to political issues, surrounding the states, and all of that. Even the last time they attended the Niger Delta Games, that was the first edition. It took the intervention of, some sports stakeholders in them to be able to, attend that particular event due to the political states as well. The what's it called, to the Niger Delta Games, all right, the sport commissioner, Barrister Christopher Green, was actually being asked to leave his position as the sport commissioner of the state, all right, and you never can tell how that, of course, probably might have affected their performance, because he was, at the front in making sure that the team actually gets the best of preparation. But at the end of the day, the commissioner didn't is now the chairman of the committee, of course, leading Team Rivers to the Niger Delta Games. Take a look at some of these things that has really happened in one way or the other. I think probably might have affected. We're talking about them not having, of course, a vehicle maybe to transport themselves, to maybe their desired venue down there at the games. Maybe some of these things, of course, could be one of the reasons, and this can as well go a very long way in affecting the psychology of the athlete, and all of that. So when a team is not prepared, you find it difficult to get the best from the athletes, at the end of the day. So for me, it is really worrisome. In the past 3 years, we've seen Team Rivers not being at the very best when it comes to do with domestic competitions, like this, and you can at least attribute it to the political issues in the states, and somehow too, you take a look at it, lack of athletes, with how many, have mean standard facilities. You sometimes will mention the ones at uniports, apart from the ones at uniports, where are other places that maybe where we can find these top-notch facilities in this. So these are all of, I take a look at all of this could be the reason why Team Rivers are really struggling. The likes of Edo that are even topping the medal table, take a look at it, we're very well prepared. They're able to put up their facilities in order, and today we're seeing what we're doing. We understand Delta State already, when it comes to domestic competitions, they are always there because they also have the best facilities. Dan Ligali has also been able to improve Delta to that point where they can compete at all levels. So for me, I think preparation, if you look at it, has also hindered Team Rivers a bit at this point in time. But we still have about 3 days, of course, before the competition comes to an end. We'll see where, of course, they will finish at the end of the day.
Yes, we'll see where the day with just 3 days to go. Kingsley, are you satisfied? I don't know what is your take on the organization so far of the second edition of the Niger Delta game, in terms of the facilities on ground, in terms of coordination, in terms of the fans turnout. Are you okay? I don't know what is your appraisals.
First of all, for the organization, I think it's been top-notch a bit. We've not heard of any hitches, maybe from the states complaining of maybe lack of accommodation, and all of that. We've seen it very, easy for the states. We've not heard anything like, oh, this state did not, they participated, this and this happened. We've not really heard much. Before, it used to be issue of where is the medal stable, where is the medal stable, but at least, we're able to see the medal stable, I think for me, it's a top-notch. Don't forget, they even have to go get a private body to come help organize this one, at this point in time. So you expect the very best when it comes to, organization, assistance. So for me, I think you take a look at it, the, organization has been top-notch, and the Niger Delta Games this time around has gotten a lot of accolades, from top, sportsmen, in the country. The likes of Victor Ikpeba commending the organization and the games. We talk about Daniel Igali as well. We've seen even the Nigeria Basketball Federation President Musa Kida also gave a top-notch, to the organization and the second edition of the Niger Delta Games. So you take a look at it all around. It's been a top-notch organization. Really, really, that's impressive. We'll still wait to hear what's the level of turnout. So at the games, at this point in time, try to see how we can put the call across to some of our correspondents down there to hear the level of turnout in our system. But that Edo people are loving people. I believe they'll definitely, of course, go out there. Of course, if not, maybe because of any team, just to cheer their home up, at the end of the day. But so far, so good, Mike. I think it's been much organization. We've not heard of any hitches or any problem down there.
So far, so good. It's been an eventful activities back there or down there in Edo State without any hitches at all, exception of the fact that in the opening ceremony, the flame failed to light up and serves more like an embarrassment to Victor Ikpeba, who stood for almost 2 minutes and couldn't light up the flame. But then that is on the side of it. But then I think it's been a very, very eventual activities, tailored in a way and manner that sports enthusiasts are also given their own thumbs up to Edo State government for all the structure so far. All right, let's leave Delta Games and talk about the NFF because FIFA licensed agent and sports analyst Babajide Ogunlana, popularly known as Jimmy Kato, has openly questioned the reported demand by Super Eagles head coach Eric Chell for a massive salary increase in ongoing contract discussion with the Nigerian Football Federation. Just in case you don't know some of the demand, here are some of the key demands made by Eric Chell. First off, salary increment. A monthly salary of $180,000 up from $50,000, covering him and his technical staff. Kingsley, let's properly dissect some of these key demand. $130,000, that is about 160% increment from $50,000 to $130,000. Do you think that Eric Chell deserves it?
$130,000. When we call this money, it looks as if Eric Chell will really want to pocket all this money. Don't forget, you just mentioned that this also includes his own staff. He will be the one, of course, to pay his staff. The NFF are not won't be responsible in paying his own staff, as it stands. So it is still from this $130,000 that he will, this staff. And they are not just one. I think there are about 2 or 3, at this point in time. So for me, $130,000 is huge, to say, especially, for the Nigerian Football Federation, who have been struggling to pay the man. Even the $1,000, they've actually, decided or signed to pay him at this point in time. So it will be a huge tax for the Nigerian Football Federation to dollar that huge amount of money to pay. But at this point in time, I would say Eric Chell deserves increments. But $130,000. Does he deserve it? Or should the NFF take it to that amount? I would say if the money is there, they should pay him. Of course, definitely. If the money is there, they should dollar that money and pay the man. And then, when you pay him, you expect the very best from him. That's the truth. You expect the best from him. NFF like going for something cheap. They like going for cheaper things. Even the $50,000, tell me how many coaches will even want to take that money here in Africa? At least a coach to do football. Tell me how many coaches want to accept that? You think Eric Chell does not know that, okay, if I go play or maybe coach Tunisia, I will earn more than $50,000, way better. Or if I go coach Algeria, even the Mali, how much was he earning when he was coaching down there? These are things we should look at. If the man, okay, felt a good platform for me, no matter the amount, let me come and improve myself. And he came and it worked for him. And now, of course, yes, you will say he blew up with your platform, and all of that. So does it mean he should continue getting hungry every time? He has to feed well. At this point in time, he has to be well taken care of. He's not a top coach. Before Marcel will say, Eric Chell, we are looking for you. Are you going to work for us? He's not a big shot. That's the thing. So for me, if the money is there, they should pay. But if the money is not there, they should bring the man to the round table and bargain. Then if he accepts, fine. Joseph Pesero, without even playing beautiful football, after taking also the AFCON final, came back and said $100,000. And the NFF could have, he left. He left. So for me, tell me, if Eric Chell he decided to say, oh, I'm not coaching the Super Eagles again, you think he's going to stay without a job for like 6 months? He will get another job immediately. Even better than, he will receive a salary better than what the NFF are offering him at this point in time. So for me, I'm saying, if the money is there, fine. Pay him and put a lot of demand on him. That say he who much is given, much is expected. So put a lot of demand for, so that he will be on his toes and bring out the best from the players and be able to take the Super Eagles to an enviable height at this point, because he knows that if he doesn't get the job done, then his job is at stake at this point in time. That's how you make manager sit up. But when the chair comes and say, oh, it's not $50,000, let me just do my best. Would they even me? You know, after all, they will maybe find a coach that like me that wants to accept this kind of. Now, pay him, then put a lot of demand on him too, and see what by the end of the day.
History. To receive accommodation, which means a house in a well-secured house, electricity supply, and a strong internet. This is transportation, a private SUV with a chauffeur and security details. Third on the list, rather fourth, is about office setup. He also asks that an office be furnished for him with for a tactical analysis. Travel as well is up there in the list with a flight ticket for his wife and 2 children. He demanded for business class for him and his wife. His economy for the kids as well. Talk about autonomy. That is, he has the rights, you know, to choose the players he wants to. He will not allow influencing of, you know, player selection. Some of the demand includes scouting as well, because access to domestic league matches to identify talent. And then again, he talked about a staff contract, working contract for his staff as well. Some of the demand also include bonuses. Yes, a bonus structure, inclusion of his personal assistants in the bonus framework, and youth development is some of the demand, because initiative for the youth development programs. Also asked for monthly meetings with national team coaches. And all of this demand, the NFF is reviewing these demands with some officials questioning their visibilities. So some members of the NFF, they are not, you know, even okay. They are not convinced. That some of them are still questioning the visibility of, you know, all these demand, meaning that they are not looking at it as something that is going to see the light of the day. If it doesn't see the light of the day, as in NFF not accepting some of this demand, do you think to part ways?
Definitely, I think they will part with, because the man has said, if you want me to continue, if you want me to extend this contract, these are the demands. You must meet this demand before I extend my contract with you. That's what Richard has said at this point in time. So if they don't meet up this demand, maybe he might look elsewhere, you know, at this point in time. But you take a look at it. I think even this demand from Richard has even further opened our eyes to see what the Nigerian Football Federation are not even doing, you know, to maybe the Super Eagles coaches, or maybe to our. That's why some years ago, Bruno Labbadia, at a point he was even contacted to coach Super. We hear he has agreed to. All of a sudden, Bruno Labbadia turned his back, you know, to Nigeria. All of us we're surprised. What could be the reason? These are some of the things that, you know, we do not offer to coaches. SUV. What is SUV? For a coach, you know, to do his job effectively. What is it to provide constant electricity? For a coach, a projector for a coach to use to do his analysis to players. So you could look at some of these things that the man has stated. NFF has not been doing all of this. And the man who truly understands his job and say, for me to function effectively, these are the things we have to provide. These are not much. How much will it take the NFF to buy a good projector? Is it? Go and take a look at the cars they are riding or they are driving. It's not even costlier than the SUV the man is even demanding of at this, you know, point in time. The SUV is not that it is Richard's own. It's not that when he maybe resign or whatever, he will carry the SUV and go. That's to see. It is the NFF property. The job effectively is now looking like as if it's a big deal. Okay, allow me to select my players by myself. Don't interfere. Is that a big deal? The coach knows his job. You employ him, allow him to do his job. Don't interfere on his job. So that at the end of the day, when he fails, you know that yes, he was the one who but you know what at the end of the day. So these are for me. When you take a shell, you want to enjoy all of these things alone. You know, for me, as it doesn't make sense. These are things that he should have to enable him, of course, do his job effectively. He said, okay, make sure you provide money. Let me go out there, scout for players. Today we'll come back and say, I don't have enough midfielders, so Alex Iwobi has been doing the job, or Yodika, you know, and the rest of them. Hey, where are the defenders? He has to go out there and be able to look out for, you know, the players. Oh yeah, give me good house. Let me come back, stay in the country, be able to watch the domestic league and see how improve the league and players. Is that a big deal? Oh, if you look at all what the man has tabled, is towards the growth of football for Nigeria and the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So for me, I don't see any big deal. Is it the one that said, okay, first class ticket for his wife and children? So you want to deprive him from meeting with his family? You know, these are things that we have to look at and say, oh, big deal, big deal, big. So there's no need of the only thing maybe they should even call the man and sit on the round table is that salary. Remember the last time the Nigerian Football Federation paid the coach $100,000. So I know that might be a little bit of struggle for them. That's the only thing I think they need to call a chair, discuss. Okay, he said 130, let's give you 80, let's give you 90 or 100, and hear what the man will say. Then all of these things we're mentioning, I don't think big deal. Is it internet? I don't understand. He should come and stay in the country and don't have internet to check what is happening. So for me, as a big deal, the NFL should just go ahead and be able to fulfill all of this.
So you are not seeing, you know, the attached condition of a first-class ticket for the wife and children. I mean, he's being paid for this job. Should the NFF take or shoulder the responsibility of paying a flight ticket for the wife and the children to come visit him?
Is it every day? Would they pay this money every day?
Whether it is every no, let's be realistic here. Whether it is every day or not, the man is being paid a salary.
Yes,
all right.
Yes.
Good enough to cater for himself and the family. Why should he throw the responsibility to Nigerian Football Federation for the Nigerian Football Federation to be paying for the wife visit and the children? Not even just the flight, but there's extra condition that he must be a business class ticket.
Now, let me.
So you don't see anything wrong with that?
Let me take you back to Bruno Labbadia. One of the reasons he did not take the job, the Super Eagles job, was because the fact that he told the NFF that they will be paying his tax.
Yes.
There in Portugal.
Yeah.
How big is that? Is that not even bigger than this flight ticket we're even talking about?
And
that's somebody there.
That's the reason why NFF refused.
Now, I'm saying that you cannot deprive this man of his family. He's saying pay flight ticket. Now, for instance, if you go to work in a proper organization, all right, there are some benefits you are entitled to. You and your family, not even you alone. If you're sick, that organization you're working is supposed to take care of big, or even there are 5 or 10. The hospital, the organization will cater for their health. Is it insurance we're talking about? So these are things that are basic. You are entitled to this thing. So I don't see it as a big deal, in as much as it's not every day. It's not every week that his family will run to come and see him here, maybe in Nigeria. It might be twice or once in a year. His family will say, okay, we are coming to see you. So I don't see that as a big deal. You have to let the man enjoy his job. Feel free and be able to focus. When you don't do some of these things, it looks like a distraction to him, you know, and all of that. So for me, I don't see any big deal when it comes to flight tickets, you know, and all of that.
Okay, Kingsley doesn't see any big deal in some of the demand that have been, you know, placed by Eric Chel, Nigerian Football Federation. And we'll just keep monitoring proceedings. We understand that NFF officials, some of the key stakeholders, they are not convinced that this you know, demand will be visible or realistic enough. Let's just see in the next few days or weeks to come, we'll see how all of this is going to go, if they are going to sort out all of this and reach a final point where we can say that agreement has been reached, before we know the next line of action to take. But for now, that is the position that Eric Chell have tabled a conditional attachment, to NFF before putting pen to paper for contract extension. And NFF, they are still reviewing some of this demand. We'll keep you up to speed with the latest of how all of this is going to end. But away from that, let's head straight to Europe, because a former Manchester United captain, Gary Neville, has said that Arsenal must beat Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium if they want to become English Premier League champion this season. Neville was reacting to the Gunners Tottenham Monday, which saw them re-establish a 5-point lead at the top of the table. Mikel Arteta's men have, however, played one more game than Manchester City. Arsenal will take on City in the final of the Carabao Cup on March 22 before a face-off in the league on April 18. Neville was quoted as saying on a sports station, "I have thought for a number of years, when Arsenal have been going for this title, that they are going to have to go and win at the Etihad Stadium. That's the only way they can win the title." Kingsley, Gary Neville is also is trying to show Arsenal on how to win the league this season, that they must go to Etihad Stadium, and Manchester doesn't think Arsenal will win English League. But before they could play Manchester, they still have other luck. Their next game will be against Chelsea. They'll play Brighton and Hove Albion before you even start talking about Manchester City. Looking at all of these indices on ground, Arsenal, if they can beat Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium, then the league is there.
It all depends. It has maybe fail to pick up points. Well, do not have 11 games in the season to 6 or thereabouts. We can talk about Arsenal standing a good chance of maybe winning the league if they beat them at Etihad at this point in time. But you take a look at Manchester City, they look beaten. Newcastle United, they are hungry now because they have the feeling that the league somehow could be there, right? So at this point in time, they want to capitalize on every game and take up home at this point. So for me, it's not even that Etihad game. Arsenal should be very much consistent going forward. They shouldn't draw. Let them, anything like drawing a game now should be out of their mind. What they should focus on is winning, and winning, no matter how difficult, of course, it is. And that game that makes it even difficult at this point in time. Arsenal, at this point, we cannot say Arsenal. Yes, they are topping with 5 points, but there's no assurance that they will win the league with that 5 points. It can happen. So for me, for Arsenal, they should just step up their performance. It was a very good performance against Tottenham. But can they maintain that level of momentum? Mikel Arteta at this point, I think it's time for him to be, flexible. The man has been a little bit rigid with his formation. Take a look at what Ibericheze did in the last game. And this is a man that he has not been given much opportunity, of course, to showcase himself. Sometimes he has confidence on some of the players he really, maybe rely on, or the one he bought, likes of Saka, Zubimendi, Mikel Marino. Even when these players are not at their best, he will stay at Arteta, still, of course, bringing them, on the pitch of play. Forgetting that there are some other players that can, of course, change the game time in Ibericheze at this point in time. So Arteta should be very, very, perfect, when it comes to do with, his selection, his formation, to make sure, of course, he is in a good, position to be able to grant that result in a game. Look at the fixtures we just got. Brighton, a very tough side. Chelsea, Liam Rizeno will not want, of course, to be defeated once again, by Arsenal. I think at this point, Arteta should be up, his head should be up, the players, of course, if they really want to break this genes of not winning the title for over 20 years now, I think they need to develop that champion mentality at all costs to make sure that they hold this one down to the very end of the season.
All right, we'll see how all of this will go, but we can tell you that Arsenal, they're currently top the English Premier League table with a 5-point clear of their closest rival, Manchester City, who has a game in hand. But then it promises to be a very tight fixtures in the next 4 games for Arsenal, as they of a stiff position before even playing Manchester City. But Gary Neville, former Manchester United player, he's saying that the only way that Arsenal Football Club can win the English Premier League title this season is to go to the Etihad Stadium and beat Manchester City. We'll just wait and see what comes or becomes of Arsenal this season. Could this be the season? We'll wait and see. Away from that, tonight, UEFA Champions League, we see Atletico de Madrid welcome Club Brugge at the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium in a battle of who wins takes it all tonight. Kingsley, this is yet another tricky night for Atletico Madrid. The first leg ended 3-all, between these two sides, and tonight they are playing at home. Do you see Atletico Madrid, breezing past Club Brugge, taking a look at how the first leg, ended?
I think if you look at it somehow, Atletico Madrid have a bit of an advantage. The fact that they are playing at home tonight, I think with what we've seen so far, they'll be ready to go all out, to get this one. They've been firing, left, right, center, especially their new man, talking about Ademola Lookman, who has been, of course, very, very fantastic. He's been scoring goals. I think it's about 4 goals now so far, for them. And I think if he's on showcase tonight and he was really positioned very well, I think it's going to be a huge threat, to Club Brugge as well, tonight. So I think for me, home advantage will speak a whole lot, for Atletico Madrid. They want to make sure they bury this one. So for them to have of course, they played away from home last time and were able to drag at least a point. I think they are really on the advantage, at this point. So 1 goal, 2 goal can just make it up for them. But it's really going to be a very, very tough, encounter tonight.
Tough encounter tonight as Atletico Madrid welcome. Is there any player that you are actually singling out to be the key man that is going to make the difference tonight? You talked about Lookman Ademola, 4 goals in 6 matches, 2 assists, Antoine Griezmann and other. Is there any special player for the both sides that you think could just, make the difference tonight?
Yeah, like I mentioned, Ademola Lookman is one man, of course, we should look out for. As well, he has been very, very prolific. I believe is a good one for him. I really love his doggedness, going to a new terrain like that, and you don't even say, okay, let me adapt, but you just start firing, as it is. I think for me, it's a good spirit from the man. I'm looking forward to seeing him, of course, putting up an impressive performance in tonight's game. You can't take away Griezmann as well, who has also been very experienced down there. So I think these are players that, for me, I think that can also put up, something huge. Diego Simeone, the coach of the side, I think this is where he has to, of course, prove his tactical prowess, as a manager. He has a very long time now, but sometimes getting the job done or finishing well has always been a problem for Diego Simeone. And I think looking at the fact that he has this arrays of stars now, of course, in his team, he should be able to capitalize on it and be able to make something out of it this time around.
Yes, the next game we'll see Bayer Leverkusen at the Bay Arena Stadium welcoming Olympiacos. The first leg, Kingsley, ended 2-0 in favor of Bayer Leverkusen. Tonight, they are playing at home at the Bay Arena. I think they are going to finish the job, or will football take it full course?
If maybe we don't see anything, happen otherwise, Leverkusen, I think, will just bury this one, tonight, leading 2-0 and playing at home. I think it will be difficult, for Olympiacos to maybe overturn that particular one. Maybe at least score a goal, in their last game, at least would have been an advantage for them in this second leg. But losing 2 goals and playing away from home this weekend will be difficult for Olympiacos. So advantage for them, and with the fact that if you look at it pedigree-wise, they are even ahead of this Olympiacos side. So I think they have what it takes, of course, to bury that particular one tonight.
At the San Siro, Inter Milan will be hoping for redemption as Bodo Glimt come visiting. The first leg ended 3 goals to 1 in favor of Bodo Glimt. The domestic form of Inter Milan has been pretty good. Kingsley, do you see them translating that domestic form to turn around things for good tonight as they seek for redemption against Bodo Glimt?
Yes, I think for me it's going to be an exciting encounter. That's what I'm going to put my eyes on tonight. I'm going to see what can hold their own, because I've really been impressed with Bodo Glimt. You know, their run so far, you know, in the competition, how they've been giant slayers, you know, the UEFA Champions League this season, for a side who does not really have a Champions League experience, but taking out big teams, you will see, you know, they have something. Of course, the team that have City were surprised when we saw that result. We thought maybe it's just one of those games, you know, and all of that. But they did it again against Atletico Madrid, and also did it again at their home against Inter, 3 goals to 1, surprisingly. So for me, Inter really have to dig deep. They might say, yes, we're at home. The fans will be there to support us. The home advantage will be there. But I don't think that will be, you know, a factor to win tonight's game. They must be able to go all out. They must be on the counter. They must pile up the pressure if they want to overturn that result. They have about 3 goals to score if they want to win tonight's encounter. So for me, you look at the Bodo Glimt side, they're good. And the defense as well, you know, the midfield, of course, because saw how the goals came, of course, in the last encounter. So you see that it will not be, you know, that easy. All right, it's going to be a very tough one for Inter. If maybe they can pull up that baton to score 3 goals in this game, it might be a very, very tough one. If you look at it, Inter Milan has been a dominant side in the UEFA Champions League. But if this happens, I think it will be the first time in a very long, you know, in a while now to say, for Inter not to qualify, you know, to the next round for the UEFA Champions League, and it will be Bodo Glimt doing that. That would be a huge record, you know, for Bodo Glimt. So even the Bodo Glimt know what is at stake. They know what is at stake for their history and for them winning this particular game. Don't forget the monetary value that comes with it. So these are things that I think will be a morale booster for Bodo Glimt to be able to hold this one tonight.
It's going to be a big battle tonight at the San Siro with a capacity of 75,923 out there, which may possibly serve as a threat to side. But somebody is saying who cares about that. It's about going out there to do the needful. They are not, you know, ruffled by the stadium capacity of San Siro, which is about 75,923 capacity. Away from that, at the St. James Park tonight, Newcastle United welcomes Karabakh. This one will be more like a formality because ended 6 goals to 1 in favor of the Magpies.
I think that game is done and dusted for me. I don't see Karabakh coming back. How would they want to come back if they were trash at their home 6 goals? Is it at St. James's Park that they were going to play 7-6 or thereabouts? So for me, I don't think Karabakh has. They've tried at least to get to this level, you know, for the competition. You know, they really tried, but it wasn't good enough for them. You know, United were heavily trashed. I don't see them putting up a very impressive performance. For Newcastle, I think it's a good one for them. Looking at the fact that yes, they'll be heading down to the next round of the competition. We saw what they did last time, I think, in the Champions League, where they battled with the likes of, I think, Paris Saint-Germain and the rest of them. But unfortunately, they couldn't qualify, you know, from that particular group. But this time, I think they've shown resilience. This is a Newcastle side that didn't really have much confidence on, especially when the season started, when they lost their man. Talking about what's his name again? The man who left them to Liverpool. Trying to recall his name now. Isak, yeah. You know, a lot of confidence, you know, left them because of his absence, you know, and all of that. But take a look at what, you know, they are doing now, putting up some high level of performance. I think for me, it's a good one for them. We'll just see how far, of course, they go from here.
We'll see how far Newcastle can go from here. But still talking about Newcastle, Kingsley, it's been a good enjoyment for them in Europe, because in the last 2 seasons at least they've been at least testing some of the dollars and pounds that comes, you know, playing the UEFA Champions League. They are actually, you know, struggling in the English Premier League, and they may just not qualify for next season's UEFA Champions League. You think that they should invest all their eggs in the UEFA Champions League this season, knowing fully well that they might not just qualify for next season. They are not seated in a very comfortable position. They are seated 11th in the English Premier League.
Yes, I think for me, if you look at it, priority, this is time you have to look at the priority at this point. Where should they place their priority, and where they are in the Premier League? Can they maybe fight for a Conference League? Can they fight for Europa League as well? These are things, of course, we'll look at for a point in time. But I think at this point, they should, you know, put more of their energy in the Champions League, even though you don't win the cup. But at least maybe if you can get down to the quarter semi-final
and make more money,
it speaks a whole lot of volume for you as a club. All right, then maybe try and most kind to finish well in the Premier League, even though maybe you don't make the continental sport, you know, and all of that. But at least you went far in the Champions League. You were able to rack up a lot of money, you know, for yourself, and see how you can build. All right, this season, you know, started going bad for them. I think when the Premier League season started, when they were having issue with Isak, you know, it brought a lot of distraction. Actually, if maybe that distraction didn't come, they would have been one of the side maybe contending for top 4 spots, probably, you know, in the Premier League at this point in time.
All right, away from that, former Real Madrid manager Fabio Capello has suggested that the return of a defender, Gleison Bema, is the only way Juventus can stop Victor James Osimhen in the second leg of their UEFA Champions League clash, a round of 16 playoff against Galatasaray. Come Wednesday night, Juventus will host the Turkish Super League champion at the Allianz Arena Stadium on Wednesday. At the first leg, you could also recall that it ended 5 goals to 2 in favor of Galatasaray, and Victor Osimhen wasn't on the score sheet, but played crucial roles as he provided 2 assists to ensure that the Galatasaray beat the old ladies 5 goals to 2. And the former Real Madrid coach Fabio Capello is saying that they have found the antidote that can possibly neutralize Victor James Osimhen come tomorrow. Away from that, still talking the UEFA Champions League stories, as UEFA has provisionally suspended Gianluca Prestiani ahead of Benfica's UEFA Champions League second leg playoff against Real Madrid. Following allegation of racist abuse directed at Vinicius Jr. A statement released on Monday, UEFA confirmed that its control, ethics and a disciplinary body imposed a 1-match provisional suspension on Benfica midfielder pending the outcome of an ongoing investigation. The decision followed of a UEFA ethics and disciplinary inspector to examine allegation of discriminatory behavior during the first leg clash between Benfica and Real Madrid on February 17. So I think a good way to go, at least provisional suspension. This means that if actually the disciplinary committee find out that there is an element of truth on the accusation, then it stands a chance of being, you know, banned for longer period. But for now, it is more like, you know, provisional suspension. 1 match is not going to play tomorrow. What do you make of the racist issue that seems not to, you know, go unforgiven? Just a few days ago, we had the issue of Tolu Aroko Dare in the English Premier League, where he was also racially abused because he threw away a penalty. Vinicius Jr., what did he do? He scored, went to the flag side and danced, and that was all. And they said that the dance provoked some of the fans, and the reason why Cristiani, you know, allegedly used a racial slur against him. What should be the way forward from UEFA down to FIFA in order to stop racial abuse in football?
I think at this point in time, if you look at it, we just wait for UEFA to implement some of the decisions, they've actually put together that, of course, will serve as punishments to anybody who found guilty for all of this. I think for the player, if he's found guilty, I hear it's about 10 years ban or something, according to the UEFA rule and all of that. For the fan as well, if you actually abuse the player, and all of that, the fan could be banned for life, and all of that. So I think at this point in time, if UEFA could implement this, it could go a long way in trying to strengthen, this issue of players, always being racially abused, at the end of the day. For the young man who has been, provisionally banned, at this point, what if he's not guilty? That's another thing. And then he has already missed it. He would have been instrumental for Benfica in the next game. But all the same, I think it's just maybe to see how to try to get to the root of this matter and see how it goes. But at this point in time, I think football has grown. We should be able to see how to also take ourselves away from all of this racism, issue and all of that. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how you, of course, will go in terms of, curtailing or probably tackling this issue.
All right, this is where the cookies crumble tonight. So we hope that you enjoy every bit of, the program this evening. Tomorrow morning, 7 to 8 a.m., we'll make a return back here to bring you some of the exciting and electrifying, of Eva Busy Sports. I did a show this alongside Kingsley Emmanuel. Go down to there. Emmanuel, my hit, and he remains the part of progress. Always enjoy here, Atlantic Television Network.
The board, management, and staff of Morrison Media Group presents the 2026 Anniversary Celebration Lecture of Morrison Media Group. Theme: Media's role in shaping social change, addressing inequities, and empowering voices. Chairman Alex Ndudi Enebele, FSM, President, Institute of Strategic Management of Nigeria, Chartered. Keynote speaker, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, Professor of Media and Broadcasting Communication. Panelist, Professor Chris Ochonogo, Immediate Past Head, Department, Journalism and Media Studies, University of Port Harcourt. Dr. Ijoma Tobosia, Secretary, NUJ, River State. Dr. Sarah Joe, University Orator and Associate Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media, River State University, Port Harcourt. Dr. Ibiere Koki, Ignatius Aju University of Education, Rumolomini, Port Harcourt. Chief Host, Dr. Chinyere Igwe, Esquire, Chairman, Morrison Group. Date: Tuesday, 10th March 2026. Venue: Gate Place Hotel, Kilometer 5, East West Road, adjacent Obirikwere Flyover, Rumosi, Port Harcourt. Time: 10 a.m. For more information, please call Kainde Paul Obofadi 081 063 41777 or Samuel Ajinwo at 090 454 00744.